stipulation.
Family, we are so excited that you have stayed tuned in, are tuned in, because we're always looking to provide you the absolute best when it comes to content, especially your health. You got one body, you got one mind, you got one heart, you got two lungs.
Yes.
Is it two lungs? You got two lungs. I was saying one lung. You got two. Well, some people may have one lung. You can?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whether you have one lung or two, guess what? You are in the right place at the right time to get the right information so that we might be able to enrich your life. We have subject matter expert Michael White in the studio with us. He is the breathing doctor extraordinaire. 40 years worth of experience teaching people, training people, helping people to live a longer life through breathing. Was that good?
Good for me.
Okay.
He said that'll do.
It's all about you. We were talking about breathing. We were talking about your website, breathing.com, and all of the wonderful tools and exercises that you can take on the website. So without divulging and running to the doctor and sitting in the emergency room, you can sort of see where you fall on this pendulum as it relates to breathing.
Right. Mike, do you think that earlier you were saying that it's not as well known? You know, it's not as commonly looked at by the medical field. Do you think because they don't have a prescription that they can peddle to patients in order to help them resolve that? Is there money in breathing?
You can't patent breathing. Beautiful insight. Yeah, you can't patent it. If you did, there'd be junk mail and signs all over the world.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes, and every doctor would be on board. Hey, take this pill for your breathing.
Absolutely.
Take this pill. And your arm will fall off, but take this pill. Your leg will fall off, but take this pill.
But the same company that sold the breathing pill would also sell tobacco.
Of course.
Because they would definitely make sure that they kept.
Yeah, it's good for their business.
Right.
Absolutely.
And because they know of all the side effects and that your arm is going to fall off, they're going to get into the prosthetics game. Because when your arm falls off, they'll be able to sell you the arm prosthetic so that you can function.
But take it back if you don't pay rent on it.
That's true.
They'll repossess your prosthetic.
Repo Man.
Repo Man. That was a movie.
Excellent movie.
Yep.
If you don't pay that lung bill, guess what? We're going to come and we're going to repo it. Just like we repo a car, a house, or anything else.
Come and snatch
we're going to take it back. That's right.
And the side effects are actually illnesses. If you took a pill, you got a side effect. Okay, that's what they call it. It's a euphemism for a disease. If you hadn't taken the pill and you got the same effect, it would be a disease. So the pills are causing diseases.
Absolutely. That's so that they can keep you in that residual cycle of being peddled to constantly have to purchase more insurance, more pills, more doctor visit. It's all a market. It's literally, health is a business, both for and against the patient.
Yes.
And I think that's also why alternative medicine and homeopathic medicine is not really looked at.
It's frowned upon.
You know, they don't take to it. They don't.
You are taking money literally out of the pockets of these multimillionaires that thrive off of you being sick.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Because it's always the symptoms.
The symptoms
that they're looking to cure. They don't care about curing the root, the underlying.
Suppress the symptoms.
Right.
Then you think you're okay, but the cancer's getting worse, the COPD is getting worse, the emphysema is getting worse.
And what you didn't have, you now have something else that you didn't have before.
You got it.
Exactly.
I stopped the itch, but now I can't see out my right eye. You know, like you traded in, you know.
Well, we got medication for that.
Oh, yeah, we got something for that. So now they get your eye right, but now you got gout on your middle toe.
There's a new term coming out called polypharmacy. Polypharmacy, which means you're taking 5 or more meds. I found my mother in a rest home in Florida on 29 medications.
Wow.
She did not know who I was.
29.
Wow. Now, did she take them in a day, or were they spread out, or?
I don't know. Don't matter.
If she took them within 24 hours, that's a whole lot of pills. That's like a meal.
Right.
I got her out of there and up to North Carolina, where they treat people like humans.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing.
And not just, marketing and peddling. That's a shame.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the drug industry is 1.3 trillion in dollars.
Wow.
Around there.
Right.
So
Now, see, we can like take all the money for like 1 year and take care of the entire debt of
Oh,
the United
absolutely.
States of America.
and
Absolutely.
educate everybody.
Right.
Exactly. And then
Absolutely.
everything will be fine.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying. I'm just saying. There has to become. I keep waiting for the flat line where the health industry, medical, and the health industry, natural, will meet somewhere. Because every time you're diagnosing something, we've got people like myself that are pushing vegetables and, quality sleep, things that you do every single day.
Yeah.
Take the stairs, park farther away, from the door. I didn't say you had to go get a Goals membership or, join some gym or a
Right.
boot camp, but just taking the natural day-to-day things that we can do in order to progress towards a healthier state of being.
I did that today, by the way.
You did
should
what
be
today?
proud of me.
What did you do today?
It.
Which it? You do a lot of it.
But
You
should
always doing it.
Be proud of me for all the it's that I do.
I don't know, because sometimes you be
What?
doing. Sometimes you be doing bull it.
The it that I'm referring to today is I was at Walmart
Okay.
and I passed by a couple of empty spaces and I went all the way to the back of the parking lot. And I was like the last car.
Oh, okay.
And walked all the way into Walmart, got what I need to get, and walked all the way back out.
And somebody let the air out of his tires.
Nah, but you know what? He got a fancy car, so I am not surprised that he would park far away, so nobody would do
I was
that.
getting my little Fitbit thing going. I got my little
And get
Fitbit,
your
so I
little
was getting my
walks and
walks
stuff.
in and make sure that I hit my steps, and because I
Good.
want to live long,
Right.
Because that's what we all should want. Live long, be healthy.
Right.
So when I see people who are not doing the little things that they could,
Right. Walking, taking stairs.
not smoking. It's,
You know what?
That's like
I still, for me to see people smoking today, it's as odd as like seeing a payphone outside. You know, I know they do the vape thing now or whatever, but I think in the last week I probably saw like 3 or 4 people smoking where I just don't see it. I was getting gas and I saw a lady come out with a big carton of cigarettes and I laughed to myself. I was like, oh, she must be going to visit somebody in prison because because why would you smoke them unless you wanted to trade them for something or whatever? Like I literally don't see it as often as I used to. So I think that it took years because I remember when you could smoke everywhere. Airports, restaurants, church, like it didn't matter. Like everyone was smoking, but after a while, I liked when they started separating. I've never been fond of the smell or the aroma or what it does to me as a secondhand smoker. Like I'm not even a part of this, but yet I still
are subjected
have
to it.
Right. So I appreciate it, but it took 20 or so years for them to finally restrict something that was killing Americans.
Well, the interesting note about
aggressively.
smoking is that when you stop, it stops making things worse, but it doesn't get any better. It just stops making things worse. And
So the damage has already been done.
Yeah.
The damage has been done, but I smoked for 20 years. I smoked a pack and a half of Camels unfiltered a day from age 13 to about age 33.
Age what?
Age 13 to age
13.
33.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you
And
steal them?
I've got the lung,
You can get on that.
and I'm still breathing. I have the lung volume of about a 6'4", 28-year-old. You can get it back.
Got it.
Internal cleansing, nutrition, breathing exercises, breathing development, singing. Singing is one of the best ways to develop breathing.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that is, but you know what?
Not like that.
Oh, okay.
No, 2000,
I tried.
15. I'm sorry, 2013, 12, 13. I actually was in a scuba diving incident. Both my lungs collapsed.
Wow.
I was on life support. Definitely was an organ donor because they did not anticipate, that I would actually make it through. And
I brought her back to life.
no, he did not. Jesus did that. You're not even Jose. No, sir. You're nowhere near close. Father, he did not mean that. Forgive him for what he said.
What? You could have been thinking about me or
I
something.
absolutely had no idea who you were. No, I did not know you. I'm not even going to lean to the left on that one. Stay with me, Mike. Drop the curtain right there. Stay with me. But after coming out, the trach and everything had damaged my vocal cords. However, I could not get the surgery that I needed to be able to speak again because I was on blood thinners because I had DVT. So they said, well, before they thought I have to be on the medication for DVT, deep vein thrombosis, blood clots for, 2 or 3 weeks. Every time I went back, they extended from 3 weeks to 6 weeks to 3 months to 6 months to a year. So every time I go back, you're telling me that I can't have a surgery in order to be able to talk because of something else. Now, first and foremost, I truly believe that God did not heal me from a watery grave in order to convict me to medications, and like my sentencing, like it didn't balance out. Jury was still out on that one. I wouldn't accept it. But the one thing that got me to where you hear me now, every day that I took a shower, I used a hot steam and I would sing. Nothing would come out, but it was just the intake of the steam and expelling, and I had to do lung exercises. They get, what's that little thing where you have to blow into the
little ball
barometer
goes
or
up.
something like that?
Volumetric exercise, spirometer.
I had to do that to build back the lung capacity because my lungs, I was on ECMO. Ecchymometriosis is when your lungs can't go, then the ECMO machine oxygenates your blood for you. So they work for your lungs. So here I am without any lung capacity, but me being able to sing, by the time I went back to my doctor, he walked in, my regular routine, I had to go every other day. First, I was like, why did I even get out if I have to keep coming back? Because it was such a rare case, for what happened, and such a bizarre case. But every time I went back, it was, oh, well, this and that, but I was improving. So when he finally saw me again and he walked in, he was like, how's it going today? And he always expected to look at me so I could nod because I couldn't talk. And I was like, I'm good. How are you? And he looked at my dad. He was like, my dad was like, that's her. It was a deep, but I was gaining.
I'm good.
Yeah. It was a Macy Gray raspy, I'm good.
So we can get it back.
Absolutely.
It really is.
And as you can hear me now, continuously breathing and, working on it, singing constantly.
Yeah.
I do sing constantly.
Yeah, I had a 85-year-old race walker, was a competitor. And he calls me up one day. He's living up in Maryland. He says, they tell me I have emphysema. So I says, okay, well, come on down here. And so he came down for 3 days. And he went back the next day and broke 3 state records.
Wow.
Now they're not sure.
Of course. They won't ever say they're wrong.
Yeah.
Or they misdiagnose, or that
Right.
what you did worked. Because if that's the case, they would literally be shoving their clients and their patients off to something more conventional, more alternative, more natural, more homeopathic, and away
Non-drug.
from, the bank.
I think the moral to the story is, obviously, if you're having health issues, call 911, do what you need to do, get to the hospital.
Absolutely.
That's called acute.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, after they run their tests and do what they're going to do, make sure that you get a second opinion. Make sure that you call up somebody else that doesn't have their hand in the pharmacy's pocket to see if there are alternatives that could hopefully bring about healing. Because if we can do it holistically, that would be the best approach. So we want to make sure that you go to breathing.com to make sure that you're breathing okay. Because as Michael has shared, your volume and your breathing will dictate length of life, will dictate the number of issues and problems that you're going to have later on in life. 40 years worth of research and studying ties into that. And guess what? You can be a champion breather as well. In fact, they have a t-shirt
Called Champion Breather.
Champion Breather. We have Vanna White that is going to come over here and show the people. Vanna, you know.
What are you going to get up in front?
See, there you go. So you have that. It got breathing.com on the back. Let me see. Why don't you take off your clothes and put it on for us so that we can...
Mike, that would be you. It's not my size.
Turn the camera off.
Yeah.
No, we increase ratings. The
not that
the
kind of
Fuller, what is that? The
We
Fuller
have about 15 different sayings.
The Fuller
Incredible
Breath
breather,
Man.
Awesome breather. You know, now there's a story behind the Fuller Breath Man. When I was 2 years old, my mother caught my father terrorizing me with a vacuum cleaner.
Oh.
And
Okay.
she asked me, "What on earth are you doing?" He says, "I'm going to make a man out of him."
with the vacuum cleaner. Okay.
Yeah.
New
terrorizing
concept?
him with a vacuum cleaner. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just jokingly say, yeah, he was, trying to make me the Fuller. You ever hear of the Fuller Brush Man? Maybe before your time, but
No,
the Fuller Brush Man was like a very famous saying of somebody coming door to door. Who is it? Oh, it's the Fuller Brush Man. It was back in the 50s, I think. Red Skelton or somebody made a movie about it. It got very popular. So you'd have to be 50 or more probably to really get that. But the Fuller Breath Man. So I just said, yeah, he wanted to make me the Fuller Breath Man, and it's basically my way of breathing through the trauma and laughing at it. It's like she's done.
Right.
Right.
And we're going to enter into an agreement. You and I are in talks with regards to the Fuller Breath Speedo, which I'm going to be able to model on your website.
Really?
He said,
I know. He's like, news to me.
Speedo? You mean? Oh, okay. I don't get it.
We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later.
No, we're going to talk about that now.
No, we're not.
Speedo are the tiny little underwear, swim trunks that Italians wear.
Oh, okay.
And like the Olympics and stuff. They wear them in the Olympics, to help with their speed through the water.
Okay.
Right. And ties into breathing. And see, so we're going to have a whole Speedo line full of breath.
We have to
Speedos.
coat your entire body with pork fat.
That's
Family, go to breathing.com.
Mike, I'm all in.
Breathing.com is where you need to go. And if you haven't heard, whether you have DVT or SDT,
Wow.
we are able to provide you the health and healing that you need.
Prayer and supplication.
Breathing.com is where you need to go. You're tuned in to the Profit and Growth Hour here on WDRB Media, the voice of the community.
Hey, Terry.
Calm down.